Ladies and gentlemen, there are days when we look at our lives, and all we see is a never-ending loop of pain, disappointment, and broken dreams. We think, this is it, this is my story, this is who I will always be. But what if it is not? What if the story you keep repeating to yourself is the very thing that is holding you back? You are not born with a broken story. You inherit it from people who gave up on themselves, from the world that told you who you are before you ever got a chance to decide. And then you started believing them. You started shrinking to fit into a version of yourself that felt safe, that felt acceptable, that felt small enough not to disturb anyone. We all have a story we tell ourselves. Some of us repeat the same sentences every day. I am not good enough. It is too late for me. I cannot change. And the longer we keep telling ourselves that, the more it becomes a wall, not a truth. A wall that blocks us from everything we were meant to become. But here is the hard truth. No one is going to knock that wall down for you. You have to do it yourself. And it begins with one decision, one bold step. One moment where you finally say, I am done living like this. That decision might feel small to others, but to you it could be everything. Maybe it is deciding to forgive someone who hurt you. Maybe it is deciding to forgive yourself. Maybe it is choosing to finally walk away from a place where your soul has been slowly fading. Maybe it is choosing to speak up for the first time in your life. That decision is yours, not anyone else's. We are taught to believe change is complicated, that we need a perfect plan, 10-year goals, financial security, emotional strength, and a whole motivational playlist before we can dare to take a risk. But that is not how change works. Change begins in a quiet moment of truth, the kind where no one is watching, the kind where your heart is tired of hiding, the kind where you say, even if it is messy, even if I fail, even if no one understands me, I have to move. It is the moment when you start asking better questions. Instead of why is this happening to me, you begin to ask, what can I do differently? Instead of will they accept me? You start asking, will I accept myself if I stay here? That one decision might not change your circumstances overnight, but it will change your mindset. And that changes everything, because once your mind is free, the world opens up in ways you never imagined. You begin to see doors where there were only walls. You begin to create paths where there was only pain. You begin to recognize the voice inside you, the one that was always brave, always ready, always waiting for you to believe in it. That brave decision does not mean you will never feel scared again. It means you have chosen to do it anyway. It means you are not waiting for the fear to disappear, you are walking with it. It means you have finally understood that your future cannot be built on the ruins of your excuses. You have to rise, you have to move, you have to begin. And yes, you will fall sometimes. Yes, you will question yourself. Yes, people will talk, but none of that matters as much as this. You tried. You refused to stay the same. You dared to believe that something else was possible. So if you are standing at a crossroads, wondering whether to stay or go, let me say this to you. The boldest thing you can do is trust that your story is not finished. You get to edit it, you get to shift the plot, you get to choose again. One bold decision, not when you are ready, but because you are worth it, can rewrite everything. Your past does not define your worth or your future. This is something we are rarely taught, especially when everything around us constantly reminds us of what we have done wrong. People remember your failures like headlines. They forget your efforts like footnotes. One mistake, one wrong turn, one missed opportunity, and suddenly the world decides you are not enough. But that is their story about you. It does not have to be yours. So many people are living under the weight of old labels. Maybe someone called you a failure and you started believing it. Maybe you were rejected once and started thinking you are not lovable. Maybe you lost something and now you think you will never win. These moments leave marks, yes, but they do not get to write your identity. Your past is a place you pass through. It is not your identity card. It is not your destiny. It is not your definition. You see, there is a difference between remembering your past and being chained to it. You can learn from what happened without dragging it into every new day like luggage filled with guilt. You can acknowledge your wrong choices without declaring yourself unworthy of good things. Growth is not pretending your pain did not happen. It is deciding it does not get to own you anymore. People change, that includes you. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, or even 5 months ago. The version of you that failed is not the only version that exists. Maybe that version did not know better. Maybe they were hurting, maybe they were just surviving, but you, the you who is reading this now, you are choosing awareness. You are choosing reflection. You are choosing something more, that alone makes you different. It is wild how we let old pain take up new space. A single sentence someone said years ago still echoes in your mind. A moment of weakness is now a full-time identity. A past chapter is being reread so much that the new pages are blank, but none of that is truth. The truth is, you are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow your past. You are allowed to look back and say, that hurt, but I am healing. You are allowed to look forward and say, I do not know exactly where I am going, but I am not staying where I was. You cannot rewrite what happened, but you can rewrite how you carry it. You can stop punishing yourself for what you did not know. You can stop apologizing for trying to survive in a world that never handed you the map. You can stop measuring your value in the currency of your past mistakes, because your worth was never tied to your wins or your wounds. Your worth is in your being, in your trying, in your heart that still wants to love, even after everything it has been through. If anyone tries to remind you of who you used to be, just smile. They are looking at an old photograph, a version that no longer exists. Let them talk. Let them hold onto their version of your story. You do not have to explain your healing. You just have to live it. You just have to keep walking. You just have to remember that the only person who gets to decide who you are now is you. So take a breath, unpack the weight, let the past stay in the past. There is no power in punishing yourself forever. The real power is in reclaiming your today, in saying, I am more than what happened to me. I am more than who I used to be. I am more than they believed I could be. Fear is not a stop sign, it is a doorway. Most of us treat fear like a wall, something solid, something final, something that means do not enter. The moment our heart races, the moment our hands tremble, we turn around and tell ourselves, this must not be for me. But fear is not always a warning that you are in danger. Sometimes it is a signal that you are standing at the edge of something important, something real, something new. We have been taught to idolize comfort, to chase the familiar, to cling to certainty, and anything that shakes us, anything that makes us doubt ourselves, is labeled as bad. But the truth is, if you never feel fear, you are not stretching, you are not growing, you are just repeating. Fear only shows up when there is something on the other side that matters. You do not feel afraid of things that do not count. You feel afraid when your soul knows you are stepping out of an old version of yourself and into something unpredictable. You have been here before. Maybe it was when you were about to speak your truth for the first time. Maybe it was the first day of a new job. Maybe it was falling in love after heartbreak. That tightness in your chest, that voice in your head saying, what if it all goes wrong? That was fear trying to protect you, but protection is not the same as direction. Just because fear shows up does not mean you have to stop. It means you have to listen, and then choose what you do with the message. There are two kinds of fear. One keeps you alive, the kind that tells you not to touch fire, not to walk into traffic. That fear is sacred. But then there is the fear that keeps you small, the one that whispers, you are not ready, you are not worthy, you are not enough. That fear is a liar dressed in concern. It wears the voice of your past. It carries the doubts of others. It walks in the footsteps of your disappointments. And yet, we keep giving it the final word. But what if fear was not there to stop you? What if it was just a doorway you had to walk through to meet the stronger, freer, bolder version of yourself? What if the shaking hands and racing heart were just signs that you were alive, that you were in motion, that you were trying? That kind of fear is not a warning sign. It is a green light blinking quietly, waiting for you to trust yourself. Fear wants you to think you have to wait until it is gone before you can move. But it rarely disappears. It stays, it walks beside you, and you can either wait your whole life for it to leave, or you can learn how to walk anyway. Every person you look up to, every story that inspired you, it was built in the presence of fear, not in the absence of it. You can be scared and still act. You can be unsure and still try. You can be shaking and still show up. Because fear only has power when it stops you. The moment you walk through it, even with doubts, even with questions, you reclaim that power. You remind yourself that your courage is not measured by how fearless you are, but by how willing you are to move anyway. Fear is a signal, not a sentence. It shows you where your limits are, not so you can stay behind them, but so you can break through. It is not the enemy, it is not the end. It is simply the threshold, and the life you want, the change you seek, the story you are meant to live, it all waits on the other side of that door. Even small steps count when taken with courage. We are constantly pressured to make big moves, take giant leaps, and turn our lives around in one dramatic moment. Social media tells us to go all in or go home. Motivational quotes scream about massive action and overnight transformation. But life does not usually work that way. Real change, the kind that sticks, often comes from small decisions made quietly, consistently, and bravely. The problem is, small steps do not feel satisfying. They are not impressive. They do not come with applause. No one claps when you decide to get out of bed on a hard day. No one celebrates when you choose to speak gently to yourself after messing up. But those are the steps that shape who you become. Those are the moments that count the most, because anyone can take action when everything is perfect. It is what you do when life is messy, when you are tired, when you feel like giving up, that is what builds your future. We often underestimate the power of little choices, choosing to walk instead of quitting, choosing to show up to that meeting even when you are anxious, choosing to make one healthy meal, choosing to read one chapter, choosing to say no to something that drains you. These moments seem small, but they are not. They are votes for the person you are becoming. They are proof that you are still in the game. Still trying, still brave. You do not have to rebuild your entire life today. You do not have to become the best version of yourself by next week. What you do need is the willingness to take one step, even if it is shaky, even if it is slow, even if no one else understands it. Courage is not loud. It is not always a roar. Sometimes it is a whisper that says, just try one more time. Sometimes it is a breath. A choice, a quiet, invisible act of resilience. There is so much pressure to have it all together. But healing, growing, becoming, these are not linear processes. They are not glamorous. They are not loud. They are made of moments when you choose to keep going, even when nothing seems to be changing. It is washing the dishes when you feel overwhelmed. It is texting a friend when you want to isolate. It is showing kindness to yourself when all you feel is guilt. Those are small steps, and they are also sacred. Some days, the best you can do is survive, and that is okay. Progress does not always look like winning. Sometimes it just looks like refusing to quit. And in a world that celebrates extremes, that quiet decision to keep walking, to take one more step, is nothing short of revolutionary. We tend to compare ourselves with others who seem miles ahead. We forget that they too started with small steps. They too had days where they did not know what they were doing. They too made mistakes, took pauses, and felt lost. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are on your path, and every small step you take, no matter how insignificant it seems, is proof that you are moving, that you are alive, that you are not giving up. The mountain may seem high, but you are not meant to fly to the top. You climb it one step at a time, one day at a time, one breath at a time, and it is those small, consistent, courageous steps that eventually build the life you are dreaming of. Not the leaps, not the shortcuts, just the willingness to keep showing up, exactly as you are, with whatever strength you have today. Your pain can become your power if you rise from it. Most people spend their lives running from pain, hiding it, pretending it never happened. We are taught to bury it under smiles, silence, and distractions, but pain does not disappear just because we ignore it. It waits, it lingers, it whispers in our quiet moments, and the longer we avoid it, the more it takes over. The only way out is through, and the moment we choose to face it, to rise from it, to make something out of it, that is when it stops being a burden and starts becoming fuel. You were not meant to stay broken. You were meant to break open, to shatter the lies that were placed on you, to crack the shell that kept your light dim. Pain has a way of exposing what is real, what matters, what needs healing. It strips away the masks, the roles, the performances. It shows you what you truly need and what you can live without. It is not kind, but it is honest, and in that honesty, you find a version of yourself that is raw, real, and full of potential. There are things you learn in pain that comfort can never teach you. You learn how to breathe when it hurts. You learn how to stand when you are weak. You learn who is there for you when you have nothing left to offer. And most importantly, you learn who you really are when the world goes quiet. The version of you that survives the storm is not the same as the one who walked into it. They are wiser, they are deeper, they carry scars, yes, but those scars tell stories of survival. Pain is a mirror. It reflects everything you have been avoiding. It shows you the wounds that need attention, and healing is not about pretending those wounds never existed. It is about choosing to rise with them, to carry them not as weights, but as wisdom, to stop seeing yourself as a victim of your past and start seeing yourself as a warrior who made it through. That shift does not happen overnight. It happens in moments when you choose to try again, when you choose to trust again, when you choose to love again even when it still hurts. We do not get to choose whether or not we are hurt in this life, but we do get to choose what we do with that hurt. Some people let it harden them, some people let it define them, but others, they take that pain and turn it into compassion, into art, into purpose, into something that reaches others who are still stuck in their own darkness. That is power, that is strength, that is legacy. Your pain can either be the reason you stop or the reason you rise. It can make you bitter or it can make you better. It can be the end of your story or the beginning of a new chapter. The choice is yours, and you do not need to have all the answers. You just need to begin to pick up the pieces, to believe that even shattered things can be beautiful again, sometimes even more beautiful than before. Because now they carry meaning, now they carry proof, now they carry truth. There is a quiet power in people who have been through pain and still choose kindness, who have every reason to give up but still wake up trying, who have lost so much but still offer hope to others. That kind of power is not loud, it is not flashy, but it is real, it is unshakable, and it belongs to you the moment you stop hiding your pain and start rising with it. Stop waiting for permission to live your truth. Most of us have spent too much of our lives trying to fit into spaces that were never built for us. We wait for the right time, the right words, the right reaction. We stay quiet because we do not want to upset anyone. We hold ourselves back because we fear being judged, misunderstood, or abandoned. We think we need a green light from the world before we can be fully ourselves. But the world does not hand out permission slips for authenticity. You have to write your own. There will always be people who have something to say. Always someone who will question your choices, doubt your dreams, or remind you of your past. But if you keep shrinking yourself to keep others comfortable, you will never grow. You will spend your entire life editing who you are just to fit into a version that feels safe, and in the process, you will lose the parts of you that matter most. The truth is, people's opinions are loud, but they are not law. They are not the final word. They do not get to decide how your story goes. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to be different. You are allowed to walk away from things that used to define you. Just because something made sense back then does not mean you have to keep holding on to it. Growth means change. Change means discomfort, and discomfort means you are doing something real, something that belongs to you, not to the world's expectations. Waiting for permission is just fear in disguise. It sounds responsible, it sounds respectful, but underneath it is fear asking, what if I am too much? What if I am not enough? What if I fail? But those are not questions you need to answer before you act. They are doubts you move through while acting. Confidence does not come first. Clarity does not come first. Action comes first. The rest follows. Your truth is not something you find. It is something you remember. It has always been there, under the layers of noise and fear and performance. It shows up in your quiet moments. It shows up in the things that make your heart beat faster, in the moments when you feel most alive, in the choices that scare you and thrill you at the same time. That is your truth trying to speak, trying to breathe, trying to lead. You do not owe anyone a version of yourself that feels easier for them to accept. You do not need to explain why you have changed. You do not have to justify your dreams, your feelings, your needs. This life is yours, not theirs, and the more you delay living it for real, the more you become a stranger to yourself. There is power in finally saying, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is the life I choose. It is not rebellion. It is not selfishness. It is self-respect. It is ownership. It is liberation, and yes, it might come with loss. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support you. But those who do, those are your people. The rest were just chapters, not the whole book. Living your truth is not about perfection. It is not about proving anything. It is simply about alignment, choosing thoughts, actions, and relationships that match who you are at your core. It is about no longer pretending, no longer performing, no longer waiting for someone else to tell you that it is finally okay to be you. You are not here to be tolerated. You are here to be true, and the moment you stop waiting for permission, everything starts to change. Not because the world allowed it, but because you did. Silence your inner critic and choose progress. That voice in your head that keeps telling you you are not doing enough, not good enough, not worthy enough, it is not the truth. It is a voice shaped by fear, comparison, and old wounds, and it speaks so confidently that you start to believe it. You start to measure every step by its impossible standards. Every move becomes a test. Every mistake becomes proof of failure. But you were never meant to be at war with yourself. You were meant to grow, not to constantly tear yourself down. The inner critic is sneaky. It wears many masks. Sometimes it sounds like your own voice. Sometimes it echoes the words of people who doubted you years ago. Sometimes it disguises itself as motivation, telling you to do better while secretly making you feel like you are never enough. And because it is always there, always whispering, you start to confuse it with your identity. But it is not you. It is only a pattern, a learned behavior, not a life sentence. Progress does not come from perfection. It comes from repetition, from falling down and standing back up. But when your inner critic is loud, you do not allow yourself the space to grow. You hesitate, you overthink, you punish yourself for not getting it right the first time, and in that cycle of self-judgment, you lose momentum. You stop celebrating your small wins. You stop noticing how far you have come. You become so focused on what is missing that you forget to honor what already exists. The truth is, progress is not about speed. It is about direction. It is about choosing to keep going, even when you feel stuck. It is about taking the next step, even when it feels insignificant. You silence the inner critic by acting anyway, not by arguing with it, not by waiting for it to go away, but by refusing to let it hold the pen that writes your story. You show it that you are not interested in being perfect, only in being real. You show it that trying, failing, learning, and continuing is more powerful than sitting still and doubting yourself forever. And yes, you will still hear the critic, especially when you are doing something new, something vulnerable, something bold. But every time you move anyway, its voice loses a little strength. Every time you choose progress over perfection, you build a little more trust in yourself. And eventually, that trust becomes louder than the critic. Eventually, you start to believe in your own resilience, not just your flaws. Choosing progress also means choosing grace. It means saying, I did not get everything done today, but I tried. It means allowing yourself space to grow without expecting yourself to bloom overnight. It means giving yourself credit for effort, not just outcomes. That kind of mindset creates freedom. It allows creativity. It allows healing. It allows you to be human. You do not need to be harsh to be driven. You do not need to criticize yourself to stay focused. You need patience. You need persistence. You need kindness, not just toward others, but toward yourself, because the way you speak to yourself in your quiet moments matters more than any applause from the world. That voice becomes your home, and you deserve to live in a place that is safe, strong, and encouraging. So when the inner critic shows up, let it speak, then move anyway. Let it whisper, then act louder. Let it doubt, then choose progress. Progress is not a straight line. It is not always beautiful, but it is yours. And it begins every time you choose growth over judgment. Every time you say, I may not be perfect, but I am still moving. I am still becoming. I am still enough. The bold life begins where excuses end. We all have reasons for why we stay where we are. Some of them sound valid. Some of them are real. Time, money, people, past failures, fear of rejection, not feeling ready. These are the bricks we use to build the wall around our potential. We keep stacking them day after day, convincing ourselves that we will take action later, when things are clearer, safer, more stable. But that later becomes never, and those bricks become a prison. The truth is, the bold life is never built on perfect conditions. It is built on courage that dares to move despite them. Excuses are comforting. They give us a way to avoid risk without feeling guilty. They allow us to tell ourselves, it's not that I failed, it's just that I couldn't try. But deep down, you know that is not enough. Deep down, something inside you wants more, wants movement, wants expression, wants to feel alive, and that feeling will keep knocking until you either answer it or numb it completely. The bold life requires answering it, even when it makes no sense to the people around you. The hardest part about letting go of excuses is admitting that they are not always about the world, but about our own fears. Because if we drop the excuse, then we have to show up, we have to own our choices, we have to take responsibility for our next move. And that is terrifying, because responsibility means you are no longer hidden. You are seen, you are exposed. You are vulnerable, but that is also where the power is. That is where life begins to shift. A bold life is not necessarily a loud one. It is not about being reckless or fearless. It is about making intentional choices, choices that align with your deepest values, even if they scare you. It is about being honest with yourself, about naming the excuse for what it is, a delay tactic, a fear mask, a wall that looks like protection, but really just keeps you small. You are not here to live in loops. You are not here to keep repeating the same year over and over again. You are here to create, to contribute, to grow. But none of that can happen if you keep waiting for the perfect moment. The bold moment is the imperfect one, the one where you decide to act anyway, with what you have from where you are. That moment might not feel like much, but it becomes the turning point. It becomes the day you stop making excuses and start building momentum. Letting go of excuses does not mean pretending that the obstacles do not exist. It means choosing to rise in the middle of them. It means finding a way. It means becoming the person who says, yes, this is hard. Yes, this is uncertain. But I will not let that be the end of my story. That shift from waiting to owning is the beginning of boldness, and once you taste it, you cannot go back. Because it feels like freedom. It feels like truth. It feels like finally becoming the version of you that you kept postponing. Every day gives you the chance to make that choice, to stop rehearsing reasons and start living results, to stop hiding behind what went wrong and start creating what could go right. The bold life does not come from having fewer challenges. It comes from having fewer excuses. It comes from the decision to move forward, not because everything is ready, but because you are tired of being stuck. It comes when you realize the only thing more exhausting than failing is never trying, and when that moment comes, the excuses lose their power, because they are no match for a soul that has finally decided to begin.